Good morning, St. Francis. Good morning, people of God. It is Friday, the 28th day of January, 2022, Friday of the third week of the year, but also today we celebrate the memorial of St. Thomas Aquinas, the great Dominican scholar, doctor of the church, the one whose writing on the Summa Theologica basically tried to summarize the entirety of theological thought in the 13th, 14th centuries, somewhere back up there. And so, good for those centuries, applicable to some extent today, but again, theology has also moved on. So it is also Thomas Aquinas whose theology, unfortunately or fortunately, was thought better than the Franciscan theologies in the 1600s. And so his theology, a theology that is surrounding him and surrounding his school, was adopted as the theology that would guide the Roman Church. So we Franciscans have kind of just stayed in the shadows forever after that. But we've kind of made a little bit of a resurgence with some of the theological adjustments that came out of the Second Vatican Council. But remember all Dominicans today, remember all of those who are scholars, because he is the patron saint of all of those who study theology, all of those who study what it means to be experiencing the relationship of God through the things of this world. In the readings today, there are special readings for him, but our readings for today, again, we continue with the second book of Samuel. I'm here at the Great Magnolia, back here at the Magnolia Circle. But the readings for today, still from the second book of Samuel. Here comes David's great infraction, David's great sin in being attracted to Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, one of his generals, and because, again, he takes Bathsheba as his own and he sleeps with her and everything else like that, he desires her because she becomes, well, he doesn't necessarily desire her. She tells him that she is with child. So this one-off, or maybe many times off that David did, results in a child, and so now he must cover this up by getting rid of Uriah the Hittite, and that's placing him in the thick of the battle so that he dies. Again, a horrible, horrible thing to do. And again, David abusing his kingship, this whole understanding that kings take because they can, because they are all powerful, and because David does, David creates this great and horrific dilemma that now Israel has to be faced with, and God is now going to send Nathan, again the prophet, to bring David to terms as to what it is that he has done, and to recognize the fact that there will be consequences because of this great sin that was based upon David's own desires and passions, and not at all the desire of what it means to be a king of Israel, a king as God understands kingship. With that is paired the two parables of the first one is the seed that is sown, and how it sprouts and becomes great, and offers great grain, and the farmer doesn't really know how it happens, but yet it happens. Then the mustard seed that grows from a very small seed into a great bush where the birds of the air find their nests. Again, this whole thing that out of smallness, out of our own not knowing how it is done, the kingdom is born. The kingdom occurs. It is not because of planning and details. It is not because of committee meetings. It is not because of great investments. It is not because of all of this time and energy we put into making sure that every T is that every I is dotted and every T is scratched and what have you. It is not anything about what it is that we are doing to make this kingdom become what it is. It is what God is doing, and how God basically makes things happen even when we are unaware. How God makes things happen even when we are not thinking about it. How God makes things happen even when we are not paying any attention. The wonder of realizing what God has done, the wonder of seeing the great things that God does in this earth, is another responsibility of us as believers, is another way in which we are meant to witness and manifest to the world the great power of God in this world. It is not always about our planning and about all of our details that matters, but it is recognizing the great wonder that God accomplishes, even when we are unaware, even when we don't realize it, even when we are surprised. And may the Lord give you his peace.